You have had an extraordinary life. I mean, you were famous before you were 10. For those who obviously aren't Australian, how big were you?
It was as big as being a star on X Factor today, but instead of being on it for 10 weeks and then walking away and winning the show, you grew up on that show. So I did that for 6 years. So
this was just to explain, this was a show called Young Talent Time. Which one are you?
Bottom left.
Are you precocious? Bossy little madam? Or?
I would stand up for myself. I was no pushover. One of the guys in the... he's not in that picture, but we're very, very good friends now, but he used to really annoy me all the time. He was completely hyperactive, and one day he was just doing my head in when I said, just stop it now, just really stop it, because it's enough. So, of course, he had one more go, and I don't know what happened. My arm came out, and I just went, boom, and I punched him, and he fell over. And I thought, I didn't even know that I could do that. Never messed with me again, I tell you.
By 1989, Kylie is a smash hit in Neighbours, and you pop up in the rival soap, Home and Away. What was the thinking behind that? Because you are putting yourself right up against your big sister.
I left Young Talent Time. That had been my whole childhood. Didn't really know what I was going to do, but I thought I'll stay at school and study, and I quite fancied being a director. And then they said, oh, there's a chance at, you know, being on this soap opera. And I thought, great experience, you know, considering what I want to do, and get out and try something new, learn some new skills.
I mean, what was fascinating about Home and Away and Neighbours was that the stars of these shows in Australia probably thought, oh, we're pretty well known in our own country. Meanwhile, in Britain, they're becoming absolutely huge hits. Did you have any real idea that was going on?
We had no concept when we were in the studio making the show of how big it was in the UK, how it took over, how people cut school to run home and watch them. I just thought it was all pretty weird, wacky, that you're all so into this show. For us in Australia, it was popular, but it was, you know, one of many shows.
Did you like being a pop star? Because you were actually incredibly successful, despite all the people that sneer at you now about your pop career. If you actually look at the number of hits you had, you were successful.
Loved it. I've always loved music. I've always loved being a part of it. And whether I'm mentoring the kids on X Factor or doing it myself, I love it. I just love to be around it all the time.
You've tasted fame. You're having a great, successful pop career as well. But the one thing missing from your life is a man. With her early showbiz career leaving no time for romance, when Dannii did fall in love, she fell hard for fellow actor Julian McMahon, the son of an ex-Prime Minister.
At the time, it was like the most glamorous thing in the world. It was gorgeous, you know, she looked stunning, he was so handsome, Kylie was a bridesmaid. It was beautiful.
When she decided to marry the son of a former Prime Minister, I was a bit concerned about that.
God, was I there. I was invited. It was one of the weirdest weddings I'd ever been to. It was the first real bit of Australian aristocracy I'd seen, and it was really ugly.
And it wasn't long before the newspapers were putting the boot in.
The backlash in the Australian press, certain side of the press, was really horrible, and they just thought, oh, pop star marrying Prime Minister's son, that it could never work.
It had failure all over it.
Having lived under an ever-present media spotlight, it came as no surprise when the couple's marriage fell apart after just 17 months. The fairy tale was over.
She just broke down, and it was really, really hard to see that, because I thought she was doing okay. And you suddenly think, oh, wow, you know, she's just like everyone else.
But rather than let it crush her, Dannii made the decision to shed more than just her tears.
She just got divorced, and I think her self-esteem was limbo low. So I understand what she was doing. She was just trying to reclaim her her sexuality and trying to, you know, build herself up in the public eye.
You know, for me it's always difficult when I see children that grew up with me who become sort of like my own children in a way, do something that I'd rather they didn't. In reflection now, I don't see any problem with it. I just couldn't look at it, that's all.
Playboy was, you know, 2 fingers up to him, and like, this is what you're missing.
Is that what it was? Was it 2 fingers up?
In the end, it was, I guess it did lift me up, but the reason I didn't wasn't to stick 2 fingers up at Julian at all. When we got married, he wanted to get started in America. I was working in London, and I'm flying between the two to try and see him. And at the point that we divorced, I was 150 grand in debt. I had worked my whole entire life. I'd earned a lot of money over a long period of time. To be that in debt where you cannot pay your rent, on top of the devastation of this marriage didn't work out, and I really thought it was going to. I loved this person. Ever since then until now, it's felt like this big, dark secret of why I did Playboy, and everybody wagged the finger and what a stupid thing to do, because I never ever wanted to admit the trouble that I was in, and I never wanted anyone to think badly of Julian. I should have been looking at the finances more, got in big, big trouble. It's kind of nice now to say, okay, it did look like the most stupid thing to do, but I had no other choice, and I would never, ever ask my family for money. So I remember having the contract there and my parents there, and like Johnny Young, my parents did not want me to do this. My dad standing there going, when you do this, that's forever. You can never, ever change that. And I said, Dad, I don't have any other choice. Signed the bottom of the contract. Thankfully, the upside was, it actually was fun, and I did feel liberated by it, and at the end, it probably kind of dug me out of a hole, not just financially, but I did get a bit of self-esteem back. I just thought, how could I be so stupid in every respect? How could I have not seen this coming with the marriage not working out? Everyone else could see it. How could I let everything turn into this when I should know better? You know, I worked really hard all my life.
When you were... Do you regret doing Playboy now? Do you wish that it wasn't on the CV that you did it?
No, I don't. I don't, but I feel more relieved now that people know why I did it. And I actually looked at the pictures and I thought, damn, I look all right. And the magazine came out. It was the biggest selling Playboy they'd ever had.
Apparently it sold out in 3 days.
They had to reprint and... And the biggest compliment was girlfriends of mine had gone out to buy it because they know me. They'd gone out to purchase to see what it was all about. They realised they're very tasteful shots and called me up and said, you know what, you look beautiful. And then it felt like a celebration of me, only at that point.
When you met Julian, you were obviously in love with the guy. What was it that attracted you to him?
He was a wild guy, you know, he liked having fun and being a bit crazy and goofy and